Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Brandon Gerdes, and I'm your host. You're tuned in to Body Geeks. Today, I wanted to go over a Cal Pro preview for the 2021 contest season. So we've had two contests so far this year. We've had the Indy Pro and the New York Pro. Justin Rodriguez got the win at the Indy Pro. Nick Walker got the win at the New York Pro. So both those guys got their Olympia qualifications for this year. And we have plenty more shows coming up, as well as plenty of athletes that still need to qualify. So let's get right into it first. Let me share my screen for you, and let's see who's actually qualified for the Olympia. All right. So like I said, if we start at the bottom here, Nick Walker qualified at the New York Pro, very dominating win, looked great. And a lot of people have been talking about him, potentially cracking the top 6 at this year's Olympia. Depending on who qualifies and who shows up, I think that is a possibility. But then again, there's still a lot of guys that have to qualify, and there could be a potentially deep lineup at this year's show, assuming that everybody competes and everybody gets qualified. Same thing, Justin Rodriguez, qualified at the Indy Pro. He looked great, and he was beaten by Nick Walker in New York. So those two guys are our most recent qualifiers for this year, with the first 2 shows this season. So if we look at the rest of this list, we have William Bonnick, Hadi Chupin, Phil Heath, Brandon Curry, Big Ramy, Reagan Grimes, James Hollingshead. So that's your guys that are set to do the Olympia, or at least qualified to do the Olympia this year. But like I said, we have a lot more contests coming up, including the Cal Pro, where there is going to be a qualifying spot awarded to the winner, as well as more points awarded to those who have not yet won a show, but maybe are qualifying on points. So it's worth noting here that in the top 3 currently in our point standings, Muhammad El Imam and Hassan Mustafa are both doing the Cal Pro. So, a win would be a qualification, but obviously, placing well, top 2, top 3 is going to give them valuable points to keep them in this top 3 spot where they can qualify on points should they not win a show this year. Dorian Haywood, who's currently qualified 2nd in points, he's not doing the Cal Pro. I think his next show is Puerto Rico, but we'll visit that at a later date. So I'll get right into it. Let me give you my top 3 predictions with a couple of wild cards in there as well. So first thing, I think that the favorite to win this show is going to actually be Patrick Moore. Patrick has won this show before. I think it was 2019. Didn't have the best showings, or didn't have the showings that he had planned for in 2020. But, this guy's been top 10 at the Olympia. He's won the Cal before, has arguably one of the more aesthetic physiques in the open division in the whole IFBB. Definitely going to be, I think, the most aesthetic physique on the stage at the Cal Pro. I think he's taken some time off, added some size. If he shows up in shape with his lines, good conditioning, good lines, and enough mass, not only is he a huge threat to win this show, but he's a huge threat, for sure for a top 10, if not even a top 6 at the Olympia. Excuse me. I ate some trail mix earlier, and we know how that goes. Anyways, Patrick Moore, I think, is going to be the winner. He's my favorite to win this show. Some of the stuff he's been posting on Instagram has looked pretty good. Looks like he's ready. We can see here hitting the most muscular shot, the gym pump. I think he also had mentioned, a while back that he's been actually getting some tattoo removal processes done, which, is everybody has their own opinion on that, and whether or not tattoos actually hurt you on stage. Personally, I don't think that they help you, because they can be distracting. So seeing him actually you can see in this arm, I think he's gotten some work done. Him actually getting his tattoos removed shows how serious he is for his bodybuilding career, and how far he wants to take it. If you're willing to pay the money for that and undergo that, I think that that's something that can show you how serious he takes it and how much he wants it, that he's willing to, pay attention to all those small details, right? So he's definitely looking, I'd say, bigger, which a lot of people look bigger on Instagram, but I think this is the biggest I've seen him compared to past years. Still has a tight waist, which is great. Still appears to be keeping his aesthetics. And I know that he can show up in condition, so it's not like he hasn't done that before. There's a back double bicep of him as well. So Patrick, I'm going to have him in the top spot. I think he's going to show up. I think he's going to take the win. If he does his homework, if he shows up even with the same physique he brought back in 2019, I think that'll be enough to win the show and get his qualifying spot. So I think this is a good move for him. I think he's going to get the qualifying spot, still earlier in the year, and then focus on the rest of the year to get ready for the Olympia. Now, second place, I think, is going to go to Hassan Mustafa. Now, he looked good at the New York Pro. I think that he's a very big guy. I would venture to guess that he's one of those people that can put on muscle very easily, but struggles to get into condition. Now, he's in good condition, but is he in like that top condition that we need to see on the Olympia stage, especially in the top 10, top 5? I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he needs to be just a little bit crisper, a little bit sharper. It's almost like there's a small film of water that he always has, no matter how lean he gets. He definitely has plenty of muscle mass. He's a very thick guy, very freaky dude, especially his quads. We can see his back here is great as well, but his quads are arguably some of the best in the whole IFBB. So I think that he's definitely a threat to win the show. If Patrick isn't big enough for his level of mass, for Hassan's mass, he could win. If Patrick isn't incredibly sharp with his conditioning, then I think Hassan can move up. And I also think that if Hassan really just nails it and shows his best condition ever, that could potentially be enough to win as well. Why do I have Patrick ahead of him? I think that Patrick has better lines, and I think with enough mass and even matching condition in that, I think that will give him the win. However, if Patrick has improved mass with his lines and he's in shape, I think that's going to prove to be too much for Hassan Mustafa. So I'm putting Hassan in second place. Now, somebody that kind of surprised me this year at the Indy Pro was Muhammad El Imam. Now, I would say he pushed Justin Rodriguez, the ultimate winner of the show, who got second New York Pro. I think he pushed him in this show. Justin definitely won, and I think rightfully so. But I think that Muhammad El Imam is somebody that you have to watch. That if he shows up in good condition, he has enough muscle mass that he can knock guys off. Now, to beat Hassan Mustafa and to beat Patrick Moore, I think those guys are going to have to mess up in order for him to jump ahead of them. However, I think he will be in the call out. I think he'll get some looks. You see here him next to Justin, of course, Blessing as well from the Indy Pro. And I think this is the Indy. Yeah. So I think that he's somebody who I think he's going to land in that third spot. But if, like I said, Patrick or Hassan show up off, then I think, and he's on, I think that he could jump a few spots. Now, the other thing with him is that he's done 2 shows already, right? And this is going to be the third one in a month, which is hard on your body. So him peaking again or looking better, it's possible, but the more shows you do, especially closer together, just puts a lot of strain on the body, which can sometimes affect your look. He's also, I believe, from Russia. So he's been stateside for like a month now, probably living out of hotel rooms and, using a microwave to heat up his food and things like that. So all of those factors, I think, can weigh on somebody. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not going to do well, not going to place well or whatever. But, it's just if you were a betting man, somebody on their third show this month who's not from this country, who's probably been living out of hotel rooms, et cetera, versus somebody like Patrick coming in fresh and somebody like Hassan who did the New York and now has a little bit of time to correct, maybe his shortcomings there to improve a little bit. Considering these 2 guys are arguably better bodybuilders than him as well, kind of puts him in a hard spot. So I got him locked in into third for my prediction. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't other guys in this lineup who could potentially show up and wow us. I know, On Win is in the lineup, Eddie Bracamontes is in the lineup, and there's a lot of other ones. But my 2 to actually be the dark horses to crack the top 3 are not those guys I just mentioned. It's Muhammad Shaban and Fred Smalls. Now, both of these guys have some experience and both have physiques that I think can crack into that top 3. I think that they can really push and possibly beat Muhammad El Imam. However, I don't think that those 2 guys are going to have anything for Hassan Mustafa or Patrick Moore, assuming they're in shape. Now, Fred Smalls is probably going to get the most entertaining posing award, if there was an award for that, because he's always entertaining. He'll break dance, pop and lock, do different things on stage. So he's an exciting one to watch. I haven't seen much from him recently, so I'm not sure where his physique is at and how he's going to stack up. But his experience alone should grant him, I guess, a confident dark horse spot for the top 3 to crack in there. So yeah, there's your potential top 5. I got Patrick Moore, Hassan Mustafa, Muhammad El Imam, Muhammad Shaban, and Fred Smalls. So If you agree with me, go ahead and let me know. If you disagree, let me know who you think is going to show up and beat these guys that I just mentioned. So it's exciting, right? We've had 2 shows and I've been following it. I'm a huge bodybuilding fan, right? I've been following it for more than 15 years now. But this year I've gotten back more into following it as a YouTuber, right? And trying to create some content for you guys if you followed the podcast or saw my New York Pro preview. So, just looking forward, we have next month the Puerto Rico Pro in June. We have the Mr. Big Show in July. We have Chicago also in July, and then Tampa, Texas, and Europa all in August. So it's exciting that we got shows every month from now until the Olympia. The big one I want to mention, though, is that Arnold is going to have the Arnold Classic back in Columbus, Ohio in September, which is also going to be an Olympia qualifying spot. And it's a month out from the Olympia. So kind of exciting stuff because, we got the Cal Pro this weekend, and then next month we got Puerto Rico. And then after that, there's, 2 shows July, 3 shows August. And then to have the Arnold, which is a huge show, right? It's sometimes rivals the Olympia as far as excitement. If not, it's a solid number 2 behind the Olympia. To have that 1 month prior to the Olympia is very exciting because as a bodybuilding fan, we have something to look forward to every month. But the fall is going to be incredibly exciting because we'll see who's all qualified for the Olympia. We'll see who's going to jump into the Arnold Classic, maybe to try and get some of that prize money. I think there's north of $400,000 up for grabs for all of the athletes. So, it should make for a very good preview for the Olympia, probably outside of the Olympia champions. I don't know if Brandon Curry would go back to do the Arnold. I don't think Big Ramy would do it. I don't know where Phil's at. Phil's going to jump in there or not, or if he's even competing. So a lot of storylines in the works, but for now we'll focus on the Cal. We'll see who's going to get that that qualifying spot, see if Patrick Moore can nail it, or if one of these other guys can, overtake that. And then we'll pay attention to what the point series is like as we prepare for Puerto Rico next month. So as always, I'm Brandon Gerdes, and you're tuned in to Body Geeks.